first of all, congratulations on having your film premiere at TIFF tonight. How does it feel?
I think we're both just like being very polite to each other, letting each other speak. I was like,
it's good. It's fun. It's a weird time, but I'm really excited for tonight. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm really excited. You know, Dusty and Madeleine have put so much of themselves into this project, and you know, the shoot, even for all of us, was really intense. And I think it's just so wonderful to see their hard work paying off and being celebrated, especially in a time of COVID where so few festivals are in person. I'm just really glad that, you know, it's going to be experienced by an audience in the cinema.
Yes, that's actually leading perfectly into my next question, is to talk about the importance of having this festival as a platform for local actors.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's the first time I've had a big part in a TIFF movie, so I suppose we'll see. And you know, it is weird because there is just so much more activity normally, and you go to parties and all those things, and I feel like, you know, I've been to some of those parties, and it's a little unclear like what exactly is the networking that comes out of these things or not. I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot less of that, but because there's so fewer films, I think the film is going to be seen by a lot more people. So it's going to be an interesting little test of like, does this give, us maybe as actors a kind of boost that it's bigger than normal or less than normal? It feels like a real new experience that it's hard to compare this year to other years. And I haven't been an actor in a big TIFF film prior to this, so I don't really know, to be honest. Anna would know more.
I mean, I've had a couple of films, ones that I've directed, short films that I've directed, as well as films that I've appeared in at TIFF, and I think it's an amazing festival for that. As Jesse says, usually, there's lots of events, and so it definitely doesn't have the same buzz. I mean, we all had a drink on a terrace last night, me, Jesse, Madeleine, and Dusty, to celebrate, together, and it was a very low-key TIFF. It's very but I think the trickle-down effect is what's good, right? Is that more people see the film, there's conversation around the film, and hopefully that leads to some interesting new alternatives for work and new avenues and new connections. And I guess that's the best that we can hope for at any time.
Exactly, definitely. The film is very different from how cinema traditionally frames revenge narratives. So can you talk a bit about what drew you to the script?
I have been a big fan of Dusty and Madeleine's work for, I've been following their work and watching their work, and I think they always deal with really complex and difficult subject matters, but they always have a really interesting take on it. And it's always very human, however dark it gets. And I think, the relationship for me between my character Greta and Miriam, I think that's a really interesting relationship. That sort of the complexity there, the push and pull, the love, the sort of resentment, and so that there's this really strong core that these two women are struggling with. That really was really interesting for me, and also, as you said, sort of took us a slightly sidestepped away from a sort of more traditional revenge, sort of rape revenge film. And I thought that was a really human and like, there's a chance at redemption in there. And I guess, it's interesting which way it decides to go. But there's that heart there, which is really meaningful.
I mean, I said it better than I could, but I'll just add in a little bit of like, I've also known them for a while, and I've been in two of their other short films. So I've worked with them a few times, and I feel like all three of the movies I've done with them all made me a little bit nervous. They were all kind of scary for different reasons, and all ambitious and all specific. And I mean, what's cool for me is like, this film just feels like the thing that they were kind of always driving towards in a way that maybe they didn't even know. I know they rewrote the script so many times, but now that it's come out and it's done, it really feels like this is a kind of culmination of what their brains have been cooking up for a long time. And so that was really exciting to me, and I really like working with them. I really like the way that they're really rigorous. They really, it was like long days and a lot of shoot days, but there's a ton of freedom in there and a lot of room to experiment and real permission to like, to improv and just try things out and kind of really, really dig for days and days and days, and even on one scene. And so that's just a unique experience. And so, that drew me to the project more than anything, I'd say.
Trauma is often a very sensitive subject matter to actually showcase on film. So was there some sort of special research and preparation on your end? Did you all dig into some of the other films, or was it moreover just what's on the page?
There was a huge rehearsal process, and in the rehearsal process there was a lot of focus on really getting close to one another, both as characters and and as people. So I think we shared a lot of our own experiences, of our own sort of perspectives, which I think most people, I don't say most women, but I say men as well, have experiences that are incredibly traumatic and relevant to this story. And I think we were able to, honor our experiences as well as engage with each other's.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool about the script and the movie, and I think and therefore kind of the conversations that we all had, and also we were all like up in this cabin in the middle of nowhere in Quebec for like a long time. So really, we kind of made a little bit of a tiny family there. It was a pretty small crew, but I mean, I really like the movie because it's not like it doesn't have a morality behind it. It does, but it also kind of is purposefully grinding into all of the uncomfortable crannies of it. It's going, it's I don't try not to like give things away from it, but like, there aren't a lot of super clean cut things. And so the kind of conversations we were all having, we all had to kind of get on board with like embracing just a big kind of complexity while also doing this kind of genre revenge film, which was super cool. And I think is kind of positions the film in a neat way inside of that genre for a few other reasons besides that, but for that reason.
But also strangely cathartic, it was interestingly cathartic as an experience itself. Like that, as Jesse said, long shoot days, they're very rigorous. There was a lot of, it was very, we all had to bring a lot to it. And in that respect, there was a relief for me anyway. That felt like a kind of release.
What was it like working with Madeleine? Because you don't only share the screen with her, but at the same time, she is working behind the camera as a director. So can you talk a bit about that?
They're such a united front, and they're really great co-directors. And then on top of that, she really pivots to like being in the scene with you and improvising and pushing you, and you can push her back. I mean, the first short film that I did with them, which they got me for on really short notice. I got like a day or two where I like met them, then they started shooting. And that was also there was a lot of intimacy in that one, and even a bit of kind of violence inside the intimacy, and in a way where I was so glad in that short film that she was also a director, because I was like, okay, so you're both just trying to make me comfortable, because I'm like, if this was just another actress who I like never knew, I would be so nervous about all those things. And it was Madeleine being like, no, I'm directing you to do these things that are a little bit uncomfortable. So it kind of relaxed me. And so at least for that kind of intimacy angle of all of it, I mean, that the fact that she was a kind of creative in addition to being an actress, it was great. And not that couldn't have been achieved with someone who wasn't the director. Of course it could be, but like for my nerves around it, it certainly just like felt more comfortable, and she's so kind of driving all of those things and hungry for all those, like kind of hungry for all that danger as a vision. And so, and then, yeah, again, I'm really impressed with how she can go from that outside look and then just like step right into it. It's pretty cool.
And, I think, again, Madeleine, and yeah, as Jesse says, they're very much a unit, but Madeleine and Dusty sort of, they sort of divide and conquer as well. I think, Madeleine, on set, she'll absolutely push in character and push us to, we can push back, and there's a lot of play there. But then Dusty will often sort of, be running the sort of the technical stuff as well behind the scenes on the day. However, it's very clear that they both have very much designed it together. So it's really a case of them working very symbiotically and being able to sort of be quite fluid between those roles.
That's very interesting to hear that from the actor's point of view as well. I'm a huge fan of the revenge films and thriller films, so it was very interesting to see this. But I wanted to know, was there any sort of films that influenced you in playing your character?
I mean, no, there's no other characters that I sort of felt I was drawing from directly to play that role. Like, for me, it was really about building the relationship between Greta and Miriam. And we really, you know, I think because of the way Dusty and Madeleine work, we had a lot of space and time to do that together in rehearsal and on set. So that for me was where that character came from. It came from our relationship as sort of on-screen siblings, and sort of building that and building the relationship between, you know, we both have a British Canadian connection. We both have a lot of things in common that we really could play on to sort of build that relationship to feel authentic.
Yeah, I don't know quite what to say to that, because I also don't I feel like if I try too much to draw on outside things, that's just going to get in my head. And I feel like what I like about acting and what I like about acting with them is that it feels like it's all about kind of stripping away that and finding, like, underneath all of the kind of capital A acting, like what's all the eccentricities and the weird kind of personal ticks. There's some moment in the film when I'm like singing Cat Stevens from another room. Like, I don't even know when I did that, but like, I think they just, I don't even know if they just took, like, in earlier films with them, I know they opened one short film that I was in with them with a moment where I did not know the camera was rolling. They just happened to be recording me. So it's like, I feel like that's a fun way to act. And that's always what they're going for, which is pretty cool.
And lastly, what's next for you guys?
I'm still on Murdoch Mysteries, which is a lot of fun. I just filmed a few days ago, which is a blast. And I have I'm a writer also, so I have some mostly writing projects coming up. I was, mid rehearsal of a play at the National Arts Center when COVID stopped that. So, so for me, it's all the set projects ahead of me are writing ones. I don't know, trying to spend some time with my family and my little baby niece in the winter is kind of what I got going on for the moment.
I was meant to be shooting a film this autumn. Kim Albright, her first feature, written by Julia Lederer, who actually wrote the short film It's Nothing that I directed, and it's called With Love and a Major Organ, based on one of her original plays. But that's been moved to the spring because of COVID. And so I'm a writer-director as well, so I'm writing my first feature called An Empty Space. So I'm sort of working on putting that together. And then I'm working on another project. It's an adaptation of a novel that I've been wanting to work on for a while. So I've actually just finally had the sort of space and headspace actually to sort of start working on that. Just sort of building up a lot of my own work and then seeing sort of what opportunities arise. I think we're all entering a bit of a brave new world, acting-wise, certainly theatre-wise, but film-wise too. And I think it will be interesting to see what lies on the other side. And I think, having the space and time to develop one's own voice is really, the silver lining to what is a really awful time for many, many people. So
thank you so much for the chat, and wishing you all the best for the festival tonight.
Thank you so much.